This video is brought to you by War Thunder. More on that later. This right here is the Louisville Mall, famously known for being one of the most deadliest locations in all of Louisville, as it's usually completely overrun with the undead, or at least it used to be. You see, after spending countless hours building up my fortress base and then preparing to take on this mall, I had finally done it. I cleared every single zombie wandering around this mall and more, because I had something planned for this place. My goal was to transform this mall into a secondary home. Plus, I have a few other things in mind, which we'll get into later. But first, I begin back at my house after previously clearing the mall. While this place is home and a primary residence, I do have some plans for transforming the mall, or using it in some fashion. However, for right now, I had to assign myself some initial goals to get things started. So, I already cleared out the mall, killed every single zombie inside of it. The mall is ours, and the base here is it's widely, protectable, and it's all coming together. It looks nice, but there's a few things I want to do. Now I have some plans. First of all, the mall is ours, so I need to loot it. I haven't looted it yet. I want to completely turn over every single little bit of loot inside there and store it just right down in the middle of the mall, and then transport it all the way back here. Now that is gonna be a lot of loot, so I'm gonna need to get some form of storage hall. I was thinking maybe we build some kind of storehouse for our loot. A lot of things we could do to this place, but the mall right now is gonna be my priority. So that is the plans for right now. I then decided that the armor I had spent a while making in order to clear the mall is no longer needed at this moment. I would use it again, of course, when I needed to. However, for right now, I would put it away and store it inside my wardrobe in my bedroom, before then giving myself a proper bath and cleaning off my clothes. Yeah, let me take off this armor and just store it away, and we'll use it again, of course, when we have to. I'm just gonna maybe clean my clothes a bit too. Dude, if they had armor stands, oh, that would be so cool. Give ourselves a nice little bath as well. We earned it. Afterwards, I headed downstairs to fill up on some food I had left in the fridge before I took a deeper look into my current skills. I had plans to work on a few things, like my mechanics and electrical skills, but I think maxing out whatever I could would be pretty cool if I can manage that. But for now, I would shift my focus to returning to the mall, which I had cleared out already. So I checked through my van and made sure I had everything I needed before heading out. By the way, I just wanted to mention that only 6% of my total viewers are actually subscribed. So I just wanted to ask, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. We are getting so close to reaching 100,000 subs, and I have so much planned for this year, and I don't want you to miss out. Also, if you just subscribed, let me know in the comments below. I read every single one of my comments, and I'll personally thank you myself. All right, back to the video. And after arriving at my fob, which I had built near the mall to allow me to rest and recoup from being out in LV all day, I realized something that I had previously forgot about. Oh yeah, you know what? I just remembered that I had gotten all these cars in case I needed to use them as weapons, but I guess I don't need them as weapons. I can actually use these to train my mechanics now. So yeah, I mean, I'll keep that in mind. I could start hauling some of these cars. So yeah, I guess it's safe to say I had a lot planned for myself. And at some point, I thought it would be cool if I can turn the mall into a space for working on dismantling vehicles. This way, I wouldn't need to make the long distance trip between the city and my fortress base. But for now, I would loop around the mall and plan to go inside and get to work. So I had actually previously moved my generator, or a spare generator I had, to the bottom right there, and it actually reaches this little switch right here, and I can now have light downstairs. So yeah, there's light down here. The only problem is I think the light bugs out, and I don't think it reaches to the other end. I had already set up some generators in specific areas outside the mall to allow myself to use the light switches inside. This was perfect because I can now see everything in the main corridor. However, this wouldn't include some of the stores within the mall, but nonetheless, it was time we map out the plan. I'm gonna redo a bit of this. I'm gonna actually turn this into just a loot hall, just drop a bunch of loot here in the middle. While I would eventually begin work on the middle area, I also wanted to try cleaning up some of the zombie corpses in the near vicinity. So one by one, I would drag each corpse into a pile slightly near the exit. However, I would give up on this for now since it made me too exhausted too quickly. Oh man, why does this tire you out so much? I've only carried 4 zombies and I'm already high exerted. That's not gonna be good. That's not good at all. After giving up, I would return my focus to working on the middle area. I wanted to start with removing the fencing so this way I could move more freely in and out of the green patch in the middle. I would do a little bit of work on clearing out some of the fencing, but it started to get a little too late and I was getting kind of tired. So after a short search, I actually found a bed that was conveniently placed at a store near where I was working. With that in mind, I crawled into bed and I would catch up on some sleep, but ultimately I had had woken up from either a bad dream or what seemed like a panic attack.
We woke up in a panic because I didn't smoke last night. God, I'm a fiend. A cigarette.
Well, I was stuck wide awake, so I figured I may as well get back to work. And after a little while of clearing out some of the fencing, I remembered that I also needed to handle my food reserves while I was here, but luckily, there was also an entire food store at the other end of the mall. So I put what I was doing to a pause while I headed down to the food store. Upon arriving, I immediately grabbed some snacks left behind on the shelves for me to eat. This would keep me full for right now, but I would need to collect all sorts of food that would cut out the need for cooking in the meantime, such as canned food and non-perishables. So I grabbed a shopping cart and used this to clear out the shelves in the store, and then transferred everything to the back of my van. Once everything was in the trunk, I decided it was time to return back to the work area from before. I ate a few things to make sure I was full, and then I would get back to work on demolishing everything.
Alright, and there we go. The fences are gone. There's still like some structures in the middle here, which I'm probably also going to clear out because I'm going to need the space anyway. So I'm going to completely remove everything out of here. That's the plan. Alright, there we go.
And soon enough, I had finished clearing everything out from the middle, including moving some of the furniture to around the edges of the green mat. I also had befriended a mannequin that oddly reminded me of my friend 𝐂𝐨𝐲.
That looks familiar. He's got like he's like resting up on my shoulder. Is this 𝐂𝐨𝐲? I think I might call this guy 𝐂𝐨𝐲.
I mean, just look at him. He has all the same features and everything. Well, I will admit, it gets pretty damn lonely out here in Build 42. Anyways, on the following day, I found a trolley in one of the stores near the middle, and I would begin to scavenge the stores for loot. The plan right now was to use the middle area in the mall as a loot depot, so I would try to visit every store in order from which they are laid out. To begin with, I hit the clothing store and loaded everything into my trolley. Now, I will admit, I realistically do not need all this loot, or more specifically, 50 pairs of t-shirts or other clothing items. However, I would be able to scrap these into the raw materials at some point, but for now, I just threw everything into my trolley and dump them in the middle. I had built a couple crates to store things, but I think it's safe to say I won't be relying on crates for this right now. Unfortunately for now, I'm gonna have to drop all the loot into piles like some kind of barbaric animal. Isn't that right, 𝐂𝐨𝐲? So yeah, I continued going from store to store, grabbing literally everything, and then returning to the middle to dump into sorted piles. And let me just tell you, this took me way longer than I had anticipated.
I think we've been clearing out loot in every store for the past like 5 days. Oh my god, my game's lagging. I wonder if it's the loot on the ground, but I'm pretty sure we've looted like every single store on the first floor. I mean, look at this pile here, man. I could swim in all these shirts and shit. Okay, well, I've pretty much looted every single store in this mall. And here's our pile of all the different kind of loot so far. I'm about to just drop off the last load and take one good look at it. Looking at it, it doesn't really look like a lot, but I promise you there is a lot of loot in every single one of these piles. Like, oh my god, I love the pile of teddy bears. It's so funny.
So I had finally finished looting everything in the mall. I can't believe I actually spent 5 hours doing this. But nonetheless, I began loading some of the items from the materials pile into my van and would begin heading back home. Now, the plan was to build something of a warehouse or a storage room for all this loot. On my way back, I would take care of a small crowd of zombies, and I will say I kinda miss the feeling of this.
I forgot how much of a freaking machine I was, dude. I'm so strong with short blunt. What is my skill? Oh, that's right. I'm almost maxed out in short blunt. That makes sense. Just like one hitting everything. It's so satisfying.
I would continue heading back up the road and clearing out any zombies along the way. Not just because I missed the action, but this way I would be able to freely travel the road without any zombies being in the middle of it. But when I got home, I headed upstairs to sleep off the night to continue things in the morning. But first, I want to tell you about War Thunder. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made that throws you straight into the action. Whether you're dogfighting at high altitude, rolling across the battlefield in a tank, or commanding a warship at sea. And the best part, it's completely free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and now even on mobile. With over 2,500 meticulously recreated tanks, planes, helicopters, and naval vessels from 10 major nations, there's no shortage of options. Whether you're into early 20th century classics or modern engineering marvels, you'll find something that fits your playstyle. What really sets War Thunder apart is its attention to detail. The visuals are stunning, the audio is immersive, and the X-ray damage system gives you a front row seat to the destruction you unleash. Watch shells tear through armor, disable components, and turn the tide of battle with a single well-placed shot. Join a global community of over 70 million players by heading into the links in the description or pinned comment. For a short time, new and returning players on PC and console, as long as you haven't logged in within the past 6 months, can claim a special bonus pack that includes 100,000 silver lions, 7 days of premium access, several exclusive vehicles, and the Eagle of Valor vehicle decoration. Whether you're a history buff or just enjoy turning tanks into scrap metal, there's no better game to dive into. So, thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video.
Alright, morning. It's pretty dark out still, but you know, I think we should just use this opportunity to go and get some wood. And while I'm doing that, I actually had something I wanted to do as well. Now, I wanted to make another road from here to this exit over here, or this entrance here. So I'll probably do that. Made it this whole way. We now have a road that takes me to the forest, which is pretty much what I wanted.
The road that led from my fortress to the trees was now done. It was simple but a necessary side goal of mine, since it would allow me to transport logs back to my base a little bit more efficiently. And with that in mind, I would later begin working on gathering the logs and sawing them back at my base. The plan was to use the wood for mapping out a structure for what would soon become a small warehouse for storing excess loot. I mean, now that the mall was fully cleared, I still had to transfer all of the loot back here, but not until we built some storage for it.
Well, I just spent the last day, maybe 2, chopping down trees and making planks. Now I just have to start building the structure that is going to be my storehouse. Let me just start grabbing some nails and this planks and just get to it. Done, the roof is done, the bones of the building are done. Now I just gotta put in shelving and boxes and such.
So after finishing the warehouse, I played around with a couple ideas for how I wanted to arrange the crates for storing the loot. I didn't exactly care for organization within this building since it was just meant to be a place for dumping tons of excess loot I had flowing in from the mall and rest of LV. So after messing around with this for what seemed like an hour, I eventually rearranged the stairs and a few walls before finally coming to a decision on the layout I wanted. The idea was to have these little sections for me to stand in while being able to access multiple crates at once using the proximity mod.
Okay, so to general shape and idea of the storehouse is mapped out. I think what I wanted to do was just have like a place where I could just drop loot in and not think too much about where it's going to be stored. The way it works is I just stand in the middle of it and I can just access all these crates in one using the proximity mod. I have a lot of storage space to work with. I also wanted to fill in this space with some shelving and whatever else I can get. But while I'm out there, I'm going to try to just grab some things I left at the mall and, you know, also try to get some shelving units. So I'm going to head there now and finish this place up.
Yeah, so with that in mind, I got into my truck and set back off to the mall over in LV. I would park out front and then use my sledgehammer to open up an entrance for taking my cars in and out of the mall.
I should just be able to disassemble those shelving units and then just add them to the trunk right here. They are, oh yeah, oh, I need to put a battery in this. That's so dark. Okay, let's go ahead and just pick up a handful of these large shelves and throw them into the trunk of my truck.
So I grabbed the trolley and used it to load up the shelving units into the back of my truck. Then I decided since I was here, I may as well begin loading whatever I could of all the loot I had gathered within the mall. So I drove down the corridor to the opposite side of the mall and was afraid that maybe I had left a little bit too much loot on the ground.
Oh boy, game is lagging. Am I loading in all this loot again? Oh no, don't crash. Oh no. Oh, okay, there we go. Now that is why you don't put loot on the ground, guys. This is why you don't make piles. Oh my god, wait. Oh, 𝐶𝐳𝐵, I forgot you were here, man. I totally forgot I left you here, man. Don't worry, I'll take you back home. Let me get you in the car. Oh boy, what's happening? Oh no, am I crashing? Oh my god, I crashed. Bro. God damn it.
Yeah, so this is why I usually don't make massive piles of loot. Well, anyways, after trying to reboot my game and crashing a second time, I managed to get back to where I had left off.
Gosh, look at the pile of teddy bears. Oh, it's so funny. I can't wait to like mess with that.
So I backed my truck right on top of one of the loot piles and would begin tossing everything into the bed of my truck. Now, if you're curious how my car can hold so much loot, it's because I had the road builder mod installed and I didn't know this car was one of those modded vehicles that it spawned. And because of this, the truck was able to hold a whopping 700 capacity. At first, I thought this was just a normal thing or a feature of Build 42, but you know what? I'm not complaining. I kind of enjoy this. Especially with all the items I still needed to transfer back to my house, this trunk space was essential for my well-being. So with that out of the way, I would head out the mall and begin driving home.
Oh, what the fuck? I didn't even hit anything. Oh my god, look, the car just like sinks into the ground when you turn too quick. Oh my god, dude. The physics. Oh, look at that. Car physics.
I will truly never understand this game's car physics. But when I got back home, I would drop off the shelving pieces on the ground in my new warehouse, and then I got to placing them. By the way, I didn't really have any methodical plan on how I wanted to arrange them, other than I just wanted the middle to be open and leave enough room for cars to fit. I would also use some spare wood I had laying around to build a couple bookshelves and a countertop. But after all this, I was officially done with my warehouse.
Okay, well, the warehouse I had in mind it's done. This is, I think, what I wanted to do. I have plenty of storage space to work with. I'm just gonna start unloading things into these crates, and yeah, we have it done. Kinda hyped about that.
So yeah, now that I was done with building and sorting out the space within my warehouse, I would begin dumping all my newly found loot into random storage boxes. However, I guess I later figured that I could use the shelves to be a little bit more organized, but then there was something I later realized that made my heart stop, and I became extremely worried.
Hey, what happened to 𝐶𝐳𝐵? Put him in the car. Where'd he go? 𝐶𝐳𝐵? What? I'm so confused. Where did he go? Huh? 𝐶𝐳𝐵? Where'd he go? What the hell? He was in the car, and now he's not here anymore. Oh no. 𝐶𝐳𝐵, where'd you go? Man, I'm all alone again.
Once again, I was truly alone, and I hope wherever 𝐶𝐳𝐵 has gone, he's safe and maybe thinking of me. I never even got a chance to show him around his new home, but anyways, I couldn't dwell over 𝐶𝐳𝐵 being missing all day. All I knew was that if he were here right now, he would be proud that my loot isn't in one big pile all over the middle of the floor. Man, this inside joke is it's getting kind of cringe. And speaking of big piles of loot, I think it was time to begin heading back towards the mall and finish up what I had started. However, along the way, I would make a stop at the gas station right next to the mall to look for maps and see if there were any zombies around it.
I kind of wanted to like wall this place in so that there's no zombies that will come in here, but I'm kind of weirded out that there's none next to this gas station. There were like a lot here. I mean, I know I like probably baited a lot of them from here to the mall when I was making all that noise, but Seems to be some.
Yeah, if you weren't already aware, I spent hours clearing out the mall and luring tons of hordes in the area over to it previously, and it almost made this part of LV like a ghost town. It was kinda strange, but I knew there must be hundreds of zombies still hiding away in one of these buildings, and with that being said, I kinda miss letting loose on zombies, so much to a point that I had gone out of my way just to find a small group of them to blow off steam.
I mean, I'm kinda itching for some kills, hold on. There we go. Oh, it feels so good.
Afterwards, I would return to the mall and get back to hauling the loot to my warehouse back at base. However, just like before, the game didn't exactly want to cooperate.
Oh, no, bro. No, come on, don't crash on me. No, come on, don't crash. No. Yeah, it's literally all the fucking teddy bears, bro. Oh my god. Yep, she's done. He crashed.
Once my crashing issue was sorted out, I began tossing this unnecessary large pile of teddy bears and other junk items into the back of my truck to take it all home. Now, you might be asking yourself, Brollow, why the heck do you need 43 teddy bears? Why would anybody need any of these items, honestly? Well, my dear viewer, I'll tell you exactly why. Bear bed.
I'm just chilling with my friends. Got my boys behind me, just kicking it with the boys. I miss my friend Kessa.
And yes, I also had a total of 40 dolls, and what else did you expect me to do with these things? Truthfully, I don't know why I went out of my way to loot all these toy stores in the mall, but sitting inside my sea bear circle reminded me that I was safe from the outside world. Or at least I was safe inside my mind. So later on, I was determined to finish hauling the rest of the loot out of the mall, because I really wanted to get started on transforming a space I could use for working on cars. With that being said, I had returned to my loot depot and would spend the next little while grabbing the rest of the things laying around on the ground and then returning them back to my base, and of course, tossing everything inside my warehouse. Then, after what seemed to be an hour of going back and forth and rummaging through a totally overkill amount of loot, I was finally done.
I finished transferring all the loot from the mall to my warehouse now. Now, I think I want to go and handle my plan with the mall. I wanted to turn it into somewhere I can work on cars. I'm going to bring some mechanics books, metalwork, like welding books and electrical books with me to the mall, and I'm gonna go ahead and just stay there for a little while and start getting into mechanic stuff and arming up a car. All right, well, anyways, let me go ahead and load up my truck and then start heading back to town.
So in the meantime, now that I was done, I would spend a little bit of time going around the base and checking up on things, such as checking up on my chicken coop, since now I had a whole bunch of new chicks that had just hatched, and then a few other things like sorting and eating some food before later stocking up the back of my truck with all the necessary items and tools I would need for working on the mall. I would make sure to catch up on some sleep, and then in the early morning I would begin heading out. Along the way, I would stop at my fob where I had left my tow truck and then use it to tow my car over to the mall. Reason being is because I would later plan to use this tow truck, so I figured why not save me the extra trip. When I got to the mall, I would unhitch my truck and then begin sledging out the guard post in front of the grocery store, and following up with doing the same but to the main entrance of the grocery store. This way I could freely take cars in and out. Now, I should probably let you in on my vision for this project.
So this is the inner side of the grocery store. I have to basically go through and completely demolish all these shelves and such and turn this into an open floor space that I can just pull cars in and work on them here. And obviously I have to move a generator to this side just so that this way I can get some power and like light it up in here because it's a bit dark.
Yeah, so like I said, I would have a lot of work ahead of me. For now, I would need to locate a generator so I can power up this portion of the mall. Then once that was done, the goal was to open up everything inside here and use it as a space for working on cars. The reason for this was because I wanted to get my mechanic skill up, and being able to work out the LV Mall would make it extremely easy for this task, mostly because there were a ton of vehicles scattered around the parking lot and rest of LV. It would also make it much easier to tow things here instead of all the way back to my fort. So with all this being said, I would scour the streets of LV looking for garages or any building that could potentially be hiding a generator within them. However, after a short while of driving around, I came across an area that seemed to be a music festival, and sure enough, I spotted a generator set up next to one of the food stands. Only problem was, I for some reason couldn't just pick up one of these metal blockades in order to bring my car through, so I had to quickly head back to the mall and grab some tools I had left behind in my other truck, and then I would head back to create an opening in the fencing. But of course, I had to deal with a small crowd of zombies before I could make an entrance. As soon as the little horde was dealt with, I began creating an entrance in the fence and would head within the festival grounds and would attempt to pick up the generator. But of course, I had some company I needed to take care of first. Once the generator was stowed away in the back of my tow truck, I would hop in my car and begin driving to see if there was any other generators laying around. I figured there must be another one laying around here somewhere, and without a doubt, I actually noticed another one tucked away behind the stage next to a pair of small buildings.
Okay, there's another generator up there. I'll probably just come back for it. I don't have the space to store it in my trunk, so I'll just remember that it's there and I'll come back here if I need to. Let me actually just quickly mark it. It's somewhere around here, so just put a little symbol for it right there.
Yeah, so I guess I forgot to mention this part, but I had also planned on using the gas station closest to the mall, and I needed another generator for powering it. So I would use the one I had just gotten to hook up back at the gas station. Now, after returning to the area, I would be surprised by an unexpected horde that seemed to have worked its way out of the nearby building and began pouring into the lot just out front of the gas station.
Where'd all these zombies come from all of a sudden? I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of miss tapping on some zombie heads. They're all coming out of this big building right down here, aren't they? What even is this building? Alright, well, I've cleared out the horde. There's like one guy left. Let's just do this. There we go. Now we can work freely at the mall and at the gas station without any problems. So I have a generator there. I do have to get another one. Probably gonna swap out my car and go get the last generator back at that music festival.
Now I just needed to get the other generator. So I set off back to the music festival and would head back to the area I had last spotted one and marked on my map.
Got the generator. Let's take this back to the car. Problem is we have some company now. There's more. What the hell? Okay, they're all coming this time, hopefully. Okay, I think I broke their line of sight, so they should all just be going that way now. All right, we just gotta sneak up and grab this generator and throw it in the back. We're out of here. Oh, wait. Oh, oh, you son of a bitch. No, my hat. My hat. I want my hat back. Ah, man, all that work for a single generator.
So after a long while of luring away and fighting off zombies for a single generator, I finally had it. And with it in tow, I would return back to the mall to immediately begin working on the space within the grocery store.
All right, we have the generators. Now we can start hooking things up here. Let's put this down right here. Could be a decent spot, hopefully.
So now that I had a generator hooked up, I would be able to turn on the lights around this side of the mall. However, for some reason, the light switch that would lighten up this whole grocery store just wouldn't work no matter what I did. Maybe it was a bug or the generator just couldn't reach it or something, I'm not too sure. So I would plan to just put down some floodlights to brighten it up inside the store. But for now, I would disassemble some of the shelving units in the store and use the wood to build a wooden gate on the front. Then I would grab one of the electrical books I brought with me here and read it to get an XP boost.
My goal is to now just disassemble things. I think like these will give me electrical skills, and there's a bunch of TVs and other things in this mall that I can use to get my skill up.
So yeah, I wanted to quickly focus on getting my electrical skill up, and thankfully the mall had tons of TVs, computers, and devices that I could use to level up the skill. And after a short while of running around the mall and disassembling things, I later got my electrical skill to level 6.
There we go, level 6 electrical. It only took like disassembling like 50 TVs and computers, but you know what? We're there. I'm gonna be honest, I've really never maxed out my electrical skill in this game before. I've never really done more than 4. I don't really know what the point is. Like, what can you do with electrical stuff? I don't really know.
Now, from this point on, I would begin setting my focus to remodeling and transforming the space within the grocery store to what I had originally planned. To begin, I would start by disassembling the shelving within the store to clear up some space for cars.
This is good for now. We'll make it brighter over there at some point, but I'm gonna just start working on cleaning up the interior and getting rid of these like shelving and such, and get to work on actually setting up some cars they can actually take apart. But for now, I'm just gonna disassemble things. Okay, well, looks like I've pretty much cleared up the space, cleaned it up a bit, get rid of all the excess loot that I don't need. So now I just gotta, you know, just do a few more things, and I'm gonna start bringing cars in here and start, you know, tearing them apart and getting the metal and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we're almost done here. Gonna go ahead and finish destroying these things. Forgot about these.
So now that the space was cleared out, I could begin towing cars inside the store that I plan to work on for leveling up my mechanic skill. Firstly, I spotted a really nice car in the parking lot that was an old Porsche 911, which I decided I would keep and then later armor up. But nonetheless, I would begin towing all sorts of cars from around the lot and bring them into my new workshop. Obviously, I'm not done with renovating this space. I think at the time I just wanted to focus on getting my mechanic skill up and messing around with that before I were to start making this place look nice and a little bit more defendable. But anyways, once I had a decent amount of cars to begin with in my new workshop, I read the mechanics books for an XP boost and would begin training my mechanic skill on all the cars. And once any of the cars couldn't be further used for training my mechanic skill, I would then dismantle them, turning them into piles of metal and scrap.
That car just completely vaporized into nothing. Oh my god, look at all the metal I have here. Oh, why didn't I do this when I needed it, man? All right, let's keep training the mechanics and dismantling these guys then.
So with a little bit of persistence and repetition of training my mechanic skill, dismantling cars, reading skill books, and then repeat, I later got my mechanic skill fully maxed out.
There we go. We now have max level mechanics. Mechanics is actually pretty easy to level up, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, we did it.
And with that being said, I followed up by dismantling these cars and then would sort out the pile of metal scraps into one big pile. Then I would head out into the lot with my tow truck and begin towing as many cars as I could out front of the mall near the entrance of my workshop. This made it a little easier to simply tow each car into the entrance one by one, which I would dismantle for leveling up my welding skill, while also leaving a sizable pile of metal resources that I would use for making car armor.
There we go. Finally, we are now at level 6 welding. So let's pick this stuff up the ground, I think. Oh my god, I had 100 spare engine parts. I got 100.
Yeah, so now I was pretty much caught up on everything, clearing the space within the workshop, leveling up my mechanic skill to max, and getting my welding skill to level 6. I decided it was time to try and organize all the loot that was casually just all over the floor into some boxes, which after a bit of doing so and then adding a few more crates, including a table to allow me to craft things that needed a surface, I figured it was time to finally start armoring this really cool Porsche 911 I had waiting for me. I built a bull bar, a roof rack for storage, some window armor for all 4 sides, and then windshield armor for the front and rear. And soon enough, I had finally done it.
And there we go. It's armored. It's pretty much fully armored. I mean, there's no like hood armor or door armor. I thought there would be, but I guess that's it. Damn, that's really cool looking. We finally have an armored Porsche. This is quite an achievement.
And now with my fully armored Porsche, I decided I would hitch it up to my tow truck and then tow it back home to my fortress base. It had been roughly 5 days since I left home, and honestly, I was beginning to miss it. I planned on coming back to the mall at some point, but I wanted to take this opportunity to check up on things back at base. When I got there, I would go through each of my spare cars. I planned on salvaging most of them to use towards upgrading one of my vans.
This one's relatively high, but this one seems like it has more overall better stats. I think I'm gonna take apart this guy and then make this one
better. So I pulled the van around into my warehouse and then scrapped the extra one, which I planned on using its spare parts for upgrading and fixing the other. I would begin with fixing the hood and fully repairing it. Then I would also add a bull bar, followed up with a roof rack, a light bar, tire protection, and a simple engine upgrade for exhaust. After these modifications, I would begin adding armor like heavy hood armor and windshield protection. I also had to scrap one of my other spare cars for extra resources like metal sheets, bars, and pipes in order to afford the rest of the armor upgrades. And after quite a while of messing around with upgrading my van, I had eventually fully armored it.
There we go. Now we have a van fully armored, and it only took a little while and sorting through all my base loot, but we done it. I'm gonna just move this out of here and just sort through all this loot and put it away. Oh, bro, this looks so cool. Look at this thing.
Finally done with armoring up one of my cars, it was time for the more mundane tasks, mostly consisting of cleaning up the mess in the warehouse and just sorting through most of the loot. And after a full day of organization, I would head up to my bear bed and get some sleep. However, I unfortunately woken up a little too early in the night and I decided it was time to return to the mall. So I hopped in my tow truck and began to set out. I would stop at my old fob along the way to the mall. I remembered I had a bunch of extra cars out front, which I planned to relocate them back to the mall. So with that being said, I used my tow truck to hitch up one of the cars. However, after my first rotation, I had mistakenly overlooked something quite dangerous.
Oh my god, bro. I gotta get rid of those campfires. I fractured my foot. Bro, come on, man. There's the campfire I left in the middle of the freaking park. I knew that was gonna happen at some point. Why didn't I just take it away?
Yeah, somehow an assortment of rocks and sticks was dense enough to fracture my foot and leave a mark in my arm. I don't know how a car can't just drive over a campfire, but I digress. All I can say is, well, Zomboid logic. But anyways, I would have to live with this blunder because honestly, sometimes this game just reminds you that even if you have everything you can ever want and more to survive many years, you are truly never safe. Even a solid chunk of misplaced rocks and sticks you can call a campfire is enough to kill you if you're going over 40 miles an hour. But at least I was safe inside my mind. However, I had kept going on. I had made a splint and tended to my wounds and then would continue as I had originally set out to do. I would do laps back and forth from my old fob and transfer the cars here in front of the mall. In case you didn't remember, it's important to note that these vehicles have already been hot wired and have gas in them, so I was only transferring them because I had a use for them. But after I was done with transferring the vehicles, I headed into the mall with my truck and would stop at a few stores to waddle up to some furniture and then pick them up to bring back to my workshop. The goal right now was to build up some sort of living space and add a little bit of protection from the outside elements within my workshop. Like I said before, a home away from home sort of thing. I grabbed a bed, some couches, and a table with chairs and would return back. Then for a while longer, I didn't rest. Despite having a broken foot, I was determined to see this open floor plan turned into a proper home away from home.
I'm gonna go back to base. I'm gonna bring the flower beds and hedges that I got, and I pretty much finished the mall base that I want to use. I don't really, I mean, like I could just add more decorative stuff to it and things, but for the most part, it's like done. That's all I need it to be. But there is one other thing I want to do before I call it good. I want to go and visit the Louisville airport for one particular reason, because I think there's a chance a helicopter will spawn there. So I really want to go see if it is there and then bring it back.
Yeah, there is something I've always wanted to add to my arsenal. Over in the far reaches of LV, there was a newly added airport. I've personally never been there, but there's a chance a helicopter could spawn there. I've never had the pleasure of being able to fly one of those before, and I think it would truly be badass if I could house one of those here at my fortress. That was the goal at least. But for now, I would just return home and do the normal round check on everything back at base. The next morning, I would make some food and then check up on my animals and crops. I had also collected a handful of flower beds and hedges from the mall and would go around planting them around the yard, adding a nice homely charm to the place. And once I was done here, I felt it was time to set up towards the airport and retrieve that helicopter. So I hopped back in my truck and made a quick stop at the mall to grab a throwaway car. Since I was headed there to hopefully fly a helicopter back home, I would have to abandon my car, which I would much rather be one that I don't care about never getting back. I also loaded up on some guns and ammo in case there would be a fight for this helicopter, including some food for the road. Once everything was packed, I got some rest in my home away from home, and in the morning I would set off to the airport.
Is this the airport? Oh my god, that just came out of nowhere. Well, we have two. Oh, which one do we want? Dude, that scared the shit out of me. They hadn't rendered in the second I pulled up. Oh my god, well they're here. We can either get the green one or this black one over here. I guess let's see what their conditions are and then just take the best one. Okay, so it's basically 100%, except the engine is only 63. Well, let's just take a look at what this one's looking at. Oh, yes. This is my helicopter right here. Now, is there any loot in them? Let's see. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's some. Oh, then let's go ahead and prepare this helicopter for takeoff.
Yeah, and after a long journey to the airport, and after everything I had done to lead to this moment, I was not only rewarded with one helicopter, but two, which surprised me because I wasn't expecting to find one this easily, more or less without a fight for it. But either way, however you look at it, we now had the last piece to the puzzle, the last trophy to add to my collection and house back at my fortress. I would hop inside my newly found helicopter and hotwire the engine before being completely jump scared by the sheer sound of this beast.
Oh my god, it's loud. Oh my god, it's so loud. Editor, make it quieter. Ascend. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly mark where I'm at. So we need to head basically just about straight that way. Behind us, a tiny bit to the right. Okay, no problem. Here we go.
You know, there really is something just so mesmerizing about this journey. As I flew over the treetops and observed the changing colors of the seasons, I looked back on everything that led up to this moment. I started with nothing, just the clothes on my back, a stubborn will, and a dream to one day take over a fortress that resides beyond LV. And I did all that. I claimed that place as my own and turned it into a suitable living space fit for a king, one that I would be proud of and could always look back at for inspiration. But this wasn't the only thing. I even built a full forge and workshop, crafted armor, and then used said gear to clear out the entire mall, which I now fully hold control over. Not to mention, but even built a warehouse to hold all its loot back at my fortress. But here we are now, flying over the trees in a moment of bliss and realization that yes, I have everything. I've accomplished practically everything I wanted to, but all these objects and sharp rounded edges won't fill the last desire I have. What is the point in having all these luxuries if I cannot enjoy them with someone else? Maybe I miss 𝐾𝐳 and I wish he could have seen this view with me. Or maybe it's just the fact that I really wish this game version had multiplayer right now. Indy Stone, I'm begging you, please don't take 2 years. But nonetheless, while I was truly happy and satisfied, I will be lonely in my fortress, and I don't know for how long, but maybe that's just the beauty of the apocalypse. So I enjoyed every moment of this flight back home.
Hey, here we are. We made it. Oh my god. I'm flying over my house. This is so cool. All right, let's bring her down. I need to make a helipad now. We're home. We have a helicopter. Let's go, man. Oh, this is so cool. Wait a sec. What is that? Is that a horde? Is that what that is? Oh no. I haven't even like worried about the fences. I wasn't expecting a horde to be out here.
It seemed that because of this helicopter, the sound was loud enough to attract zombies from afar. Now, a horde was on its way to put my fortress to the test, so I quickly ran upstairs to equip my armor I had long put away, and I then got in position to wait for the horde to come.
I don't know where they're gonna come from. I mean, I don't know if we can get inside the walls. Oh, I see some down there. I'm going to them. I'm not gonna let them breach my walls. Here they come. Oh, they're coming now. Oh, they're inside my walls. They're inside the castle. They're in my house. No, they're in my house. My sheep. They're running about. Get to safety, little guy. Go, go. Oof, what a night. We slept in a bit, but I think that sleep was warranted. We put up quite the fight yesterday. But now, we just need to do a bit of work to clean up the mess. Man, look at my place. Look at this place. It's just, in pieces, man.
Big thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to click the link in the description or pinned comment to play for free today. New and returning players on PC and console, and active for over 6 months, get a huge bonus pack including 100,000 silver lions, exclusive vehicles, premium time, and the Eagle of Valor decorative skin. But it's only available for a limited time, so don't miss out.